I was extremely grateful to receive that, and the opportunities it gave me were amazing.
I did live most of my life in poverty, so it is really nice to have that financial burden finally taken off of me.
It makes me feel at home. It gives me a sense of peace that I belong.
Having scholarship opportunities for veterinary students allows students to choose their own adventure.
Has made such an influence in my own life, and it really inspires me to pay it forward someday.
So scholarships are so important, for one, because they give students an opportunity to focus more on academics rather than getting an outside job and trying to balance work and school. They're also really important for giving students the confidence and saying, yes, we want you here and we believe you can do this. So that's probably the biggest one for me, just the confidence builder and saying that you can do this.
Vet school is essentially taking on a full-time job, but the full-time job is unpaid and in a classroom. I felt that this scholarship was going to significantly decrease the amount of loans that I had to take out, the debt that I would be in, and I was excited to know that my school was supporting me financially in that way. Coming to Iowa State for vet school was along the same vein of this feels like a family and a community to me that supports my journey, and I feel like I'm supported by an excellent group of individuals here as well.
It was the first school that I found out that I did receive a scholarship, and so it really helped me decide that I would be able to focus more on school rather than kind of worrying so much about my financial situation, so it definitely helped.
It allowed me to focus on my studies. Moving all the way from Texas, it just gave me that boost, and it helped in my decision, but I'm glad I made this decision.
It motivates me the most just because of knowing that people are investing their money and time into my own education, so it's another person for me to hopefully not let down. So I'd say that's why it's a big motivator.
Yeah, when I got the email that I received the scholarship, I was so excited and surprised, and it was so hard to relay how thankful I was to them too, because they don't even know me and they were willing to donate all that money for my education, so that really meant a lot to me.
As somebody who grew up on a very small cow-calf operation in rural southeastern Iowa, I grew up knowing that I wanted to serve alongside the veterinarians who helped pave the path for me. And the scholarships that you've provided for us give us the financial freedom to go about making the right career decisions for us later on in life, as well as relieving some of the financial burden associated with higher education. So thank you.
I want to thank you sincerely so much for the opportunities that you give all the students, whether they're married, whether they're single, whatever life stage they're at. It is extremely helpful to have the financial part of school taken care of in this way, no matter what the size of the scholarship. So I just want to thank you again from the bottom of my heart for giving me this scholarship and all the rest of the students the opportunities you've given them.
Good evening, and welcome to all of our scholarship donors joining us virtually tonight. From all of us here at the College of Veterinary Medicine, and in the spirit of tonight's program, we hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving with family and friends. And I also want to send out our best wishes to those of you observing Hanukkah this week. A very special hello to Laura and Russ Talbot up north in Belmont, Iowa. Hi, Laura and Russ. Since I arrived here at the College of Veterinary Medicine, no one has had more emphasis on the importance of community building than the Talbots. And as many of you know, they have sponsored the in-person version of this event in recent years, on top of funding scholarships and so much more across our college, and in fact, across our campus. Tonight, 2 of their 8 scholars were included in our opening video, and each of them made points I want to underscore here. First, Amberly Van Hoeselden, a third-year veterinary student from Auburn, Iowa, talked about the incredible generosity involved in giving the gift of education to someone you've never met before, which is what each of you are actually doing. And while your charitable giving may be tracked in dollars, it's truly the gifts of knowledge and experience you are giving these great young leaders in training. And it may be cliche, but scholarships are truly the gifts that keep on giving in this regard. Tiffany Archer is a first-year veterinary student from Waterloo. And as she said, your support is a vote of confidence that helps confirm with our scholars that they are wanted and they belong both at Iowa State and in the field of veterinary medicine. This is so important to your recipients and their families. It also is more and more vital to our recruitment efforts, as you'll hear a bit later. So once again, welcome and thank you. Before I turn things over to our first special guest, I want to make sure and invite you and the audience members to submit any questions that you might have using the chat feature in the bottom of your Zoom video. Just let us know what you're interested in learning about tonight, and if we don't get through all the questions that you ask, we'll make sure that we follow up individually later this week. Diversity is a common theme at our college, and it comes in many forms. For example, Jesse Huerta from the opening video is a second-year veterinary student. He is one of our 5 Frederick Douglass Patterson scholars and brings a welcome perspective both as someone who has worked as a veterinary technician and as a young person growing up in San Antonio, Texas. One of the ways to support diversity in the veterinary profession is to have a diversity in our scholarship offerings. And a variety of scholarships to offer to our students is something we are so fortunate to have here at our college. I just mentioned the Frederick Douglass Patterson Scholarship, which helps us to recruit top students who are underrepresented in veterinary medicine. Let me mention a few other donor-supported scholarships that highlight the breadth of awards that we have. For an example, about 10 of our graduating classes have their own named scholarship, like the class of 1961 Merrill Anderson Scholarship, held by second-year Dallas Angro from Waterloo, Iowa, who you heard from earlier. Dr. Wayne and Karen Freese from Worthington, Minnesota support graduate students in our Department of Veterinary Microbiology and Preventive Medicine. We also have awards from alumni, friends of the college, and compassionate clients who bring their animals into the Lloyd Veterinary Medical Center, and also our corporate partners like Merck Animal Health. All told, our Office of Academic and Student Affairs managed 296 scholarships this year. And of those, 39 awards came from one organization, the Iowa Veterinary Medical Association. Think about that, 39 scholarships from the IVMA. And tonight, it's our pleasure to have Dr. Brenda Bright join us. Brenda is the president of the IVMA and a proud member of the ISU CVM class of 1989. I'll just mention that's the year I graduated as well. And I would like to invite Brenda to share a few comments about the IVMA commitment to the college and introduce a colleague from the IVMA Foundation. Dr. Bright.
Thank you, Dean Grooms. As he said, I am an 1989 graduate from Iowa State University College of Veterinary Medicine. I'm a small animal practitioner in Story City, which is just about 10 miles north of here. I'm also the current president of the Iowa Veterinary Medicine Association. The IVMA's mission is to provide a vision and voice through continuing education opportunities, publications, legislative and social activities to enhance the veterinary profession. We are a nonprofit member association serving Iowa veterinarians. We represent approximately 85% of the veterinarians in Iowa. We look forward to welcoming these future veterinarians to our organization and our community. The IVMA has a foundation whose purpose is to raise funds to grant scholarships to ISU students. Here to speak more on the foundation is Dr. Jennifer Hosch. Dr. Hosch is a 2009 graduate of Iowa State and is the current president of the IVMA Foundation. Dr. Hosch is a mixed animal practitioner and partner at TriVet Associates in Eastern Iowa. Jennifer and her husband Mike reside near Cascade, Iowa on their family cattle and grain farm with their 3 sons. Here is Dr. Hosch.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Dr. Bright, for that nice introduction. And thank you to everyone that made me meeting with you virtually tonight possible. I'm so appreciative to be joining you tonight from our family farm here in Eastern Iowa. So as Dr. Bright mentioned, I am the recently minted Iowa Veterinary Medical Association Foundation President. And as part of that role, I just wanted to visit with you a little bit about the IVMA Foundation and our legacy of granting scholarships. So the IVMA Foundation is a charitable nonprofit organization that raises funds to grant scholarships to veterinary students. So as part of that goal, our more specific goals are to, and bear with me here, I'm reading, but to support innovative research and education projects with direct application to recruitment and retention of quality students like yourself into veterinary medicine. To advance veterinary medicine by supporting projects that raise veterinarians' awareness of current issues in the practice of veterinary medicine. To educate the public about veterinary medicine and to teach animal owner responsibility. To ensure the success of developing leaders for our profession by providing student scholarships like we're doing tonight. And when necessary, offer emergency scholarships to veterinary medical students in special circumstances. So the Iowa Veterinary Medical Association has supported the students at Iowa State University's College of Veterinary Medicine since 1999, with now a total of $560,500 in scholarships to a total of 368 graduating seniors, in addition to VM1, VM2, and VM3 students. That's a pretty amazing number. And just as a perspective, in 1999, the IVMA and the IVMA Foundation awarded a total of $2,000. And tonight we will be, in 2021, awarding a total of $65,000 in scholarships. So a pretty amazing growth and a pretty amazing legacy that we're able to leave. And that is possible in a variety of ways in terms of funding for the IVMA Foundation. The first way that the IVMA Foundation is funded is directly through the IVMA. Secondly, we are funded, in case you're interested, through a program called the IVMA Foundation Fellows Program. And that just allows veterinarians to become a fellow by contributing and pledging $1,000 or more in donations. And then the third way that the IVMA Foundation and their scholarships are funded are through specific fundraising events like the Sports and Field Day, and by generous donors, many of which are represented in the room there tonight and virtually as part of our scholarship presentation night tonight. So as you can see, we are funded in a variety of different ways, and for each of those ways, we are so thankful. And it makes me so proud to be part of the legacy of veterinary medicine in this room tonight. So thank you again for letting me join you tonight, and congratulations on your scholarships.
Thank you, Brenda and Jennifer. And to all of our IVMA members joining us tonight, thank you for the many ways you support our college, whether it's through scholarships, as we've highlighted tonight, or supporting the new veterinary diagnostic lab. Your support is very much appreciated. Dr. Bright, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
As I said before, scholarships are so much more than dollars and numbers. They can be deeply personal for the donors as well as the recipients. They can create legacies and help us remember the people and values that are most important to us. This past spring, I had the honor of meeting a really wonderful family from Council Bluffs, Iowa, though our meeting was brought about by just about the worst situation I can imagine. Stella and Jim are the parents of the class of 2000 graduate, Mary Knott. Mary Knott's life was taken earlier this year by one of the many, many people she went out of her way to help. As a parent myself, I cannot imagine how devastating this must have been. And it continues to be for Jim and Stella and their two other daughters. At a time when the Knotts could have easily turned their backs on the world, they instead thought about what Mary would want and all that she stood for. As a result, they came up to us and created an endowed scholarship in Mary's name that would be part of Mary's alma mater forever. What makes this award even more personal and special to me is what is captured in the name of the scholarship, the Dr. Mary Knott Wellness Leadership Award. Rather than looking at GPAs and other metrics, this scholarship will be given each year to one of our students who goes out of their way to help those around them deal with the stress and intensity of our program and the world that we live in. I think this is a beautiful tribute to an exceptional human being who was taken far too soon. I'm proud that Mary Knott's ideals will live on at her alma mater and through all those who benefit from her scholarship. Let's take a minute to learn a bit more about Mary and her family.
She loved life, and she lived it in her 44 years to the absolute fullest.
She had an inner quality, that inner strength that led her to succeed in her goals. She touched so many lives.
I'm going to look back and remember the feeling that I got when I got the notification of the Mary Knott Scholarship. It's an incredible thing that they have done.
I think Mary would feel honored and humbled to know that she was being recognized for that purpose. Mary decided that she wanted to be a veterinarian when she was about 5 or 6. She came to us and said that she loved animals and that's what she wanted to do with the rest of her life.
Her drive to be a veterinarian just drove her. I know it was difficult for her. She would put her feet to the grindstone again and go out there and try to accomplish her goals as best she could. And she did love being a veterinarian, she truly did. She loved her time at Iowa State.
Veterinary school was difficult, as you well know, and she had some problems with depression, but she was one that did not accept that. I've got problems, but she was one who would seek help. She fought to be a veterinarian. She succeeded there. She went from, and through the process of the stress and everything else, she started becoming a runner. She joined a running club. Pretty soon she was running the half marathons. Then she was doing marathons. And then she saw the bigger goal that all marathoners want to do, and that's Kona.
She was in competition with herself to see if she could do something better. And I think that's what she even did in life. If she thought she could help somebody along the way, make their life better. Mary's friends were the greatest support we had during a week of very traumatic circumstances. We could not have done it without them, and they enlightened us as to what Mary meant, not just in the field of veterinary medicine, not just in her field of coaching, but how much she meant to them personally because she took the time to be with them.
Out of tragedy often comes wonderful things, and Mary Knott was an advocate for wellness during her life, both as a veterinary student here as well as in her career as a veterinarian. And so establishing a scholarship that recognizes really one of the two passions that she had in life. The first passion was being a veterinarian, the second one was wellness, both physical and mental wellness. And so having a scholarship that both recognizes her passions of being a veterinarian as well as being a well veterinarian really speaks profoundly to the impact that she has had on this world.
This award meant more to me than something that could have been recognized based on my academic success, anything of that nature. To know that it was geared towards the wellness efforts and the mental health advocacy. I can't thank the Knott family enough.
The way we can honor our daughter in the best way that we can for the remaining of our time is to do things in her spirit, keep her spirit alive. Mary had such a love of life and love of people. She was very good at expressing I love you to everybody.
We had hoped that Caitlin Gregory could be with us tonight, but she's away doing what she should be doing as a fourth-year student, working at a preceptorship. But I do know that she was able to gather with Stella and Jim to thank them personally for this wonderful award. Once again, I think this is just another shining example of the power and humanity of scholarships at our college. Jim and Stella, I know that you're out there watching us tonight. Thank you again for your generosity and for helping bring Mary into so many more lives at our college. Hopefully, we've shared a bit about our scholarships and how they touch our students. I'd now like to have some of our faculty and staff give some perspective on how you all help our college and your students support.
The need for scholarship is just as great as the need for veterinarians these days. And without our donors' help, many of the students couldn't pursue their dreams. Scholarships are really the key that opens the door to world-class professional education. Fundamentally, there are two kinds of scholarships. There's merit and need-based. And when we have 2,000 applications for every 150 spots, every veterinary student really gets into Iowa State being meritorious. Of course, when they're leaving with $140,000 in debt, much more than they're going to have in their starting salaries, we also have a case for need for all of these students. This is why we're so grateful for every scholarship dollar.
I've been on the Awards and Scholarship Committee for 1 year, so I had the distinct pleasure of helping out with that last year and getting my feet under me and really learning the ropes of how scholarships are awarded. And I think it's really difficult when I look at students who, for example, have $96,000 worth of debt, maybe a GPA of 3.8, and are the president of the Student Association of the Veterinary Medical Association, and compare that to a student who has $86,000 worth of debt and a GPA of 3.82, and maybe are in charge of the internal medicine specialty club. How do you decide which one of those students is more meritorious than the other? So having more scholarships would help us to award more students who are deserving of financial assistance.
I think one of the really important things from our perspective that scholarships allow us to do is to improve our recruiting of students, of excellent students who would really like to come here. We have a fantastic facility, we have world-class faculty, we've invested very heavily in our educational product and we believe it's a really good product. A lot of students want to come here and get it too. When I first started as Associate Dean, from our top 100, we would get maybe 3 or 4, right, of our applicants. Now that's not terribly uncommon because those same people are applying to lots of veterinary colleges, right, and they're getting a lot of offers. But since we've been able to begin, even in a modest way, our recruiting scholarships, this last year was 15 of our top 100. I think that just really shows what recruiting scholarships do for us, and they allow really us to help students who want this excellent education that we provide to get it.
I served on the awards committee for many years, and I think some of those scholarships too that target other student populations is also really encouraging to them to step up. And somebody believes in me, I'm a part of this, and so I think there's all kinds of scholarships that help all of our student body. As a committee member, I liked all kinds. I liked that there were some that really had some real specific criteria because I could feel what that donor was doing. And when we made our dad's scholarship, we put some criteria there that kind of reflects him in that scholarship. And so when a student receives that and they see what the criteria were, they understand a little bit more about their donor if the donor isn't here. Then those that were really not restricted or there wasn't a lot of criteria, that also is wonderful from the side of the committee because there's always a student that you go, I feel like this student really could benefit and needs a scholarship, and so those were wonderful to have available to give to students that maybe didn't fit a specific criteria.
I want the donors to know that the students are appreciative. They may not hear it all the time, but I know they are. And please continue to do what you're doing because the impact is great in more ways than you can imagine. So not only are you lessening the burden, the financial burden of these students, but they're walking away with the memory of what you've contributed, and you're planting that seed for them to do the same as they come out from under the burden of their debt to pay that forward. So it's far-reaching. It's more than just the dollars. It's planting that seed of future generosity.
To build upon these perspectives and to answer some of your questions, we have assembled an amazing panel of faculty and students tonight. To lead this discussion, I'd like to introduce Dr. Amanda Fales-Williams. Dr. Fales-Williams is the Tyrone D. Arts MD Chair for Teaching Excellence in the College of Veterinary Medicine and also the Chair of our Department of Veterinary Pathology. And joining her tonight will be third-year veterinary student Erica Moscaso, holder of the Nemeth Veterinary Medicine Award of California. Also third-year veterinary student Erin Gore. Erin is our Robert A. Merrill Class of 1926 Scholar. She also earned the Robert E. and Doris R. Philbrick Academic Excellence Scholarship earlier in her term here. And finally, Dr. Eric Rowe holds his DVM and his PhD from Iowa State and is a faculty member in the Department of Biomedical Sciences. He also co-chairs the Scholarship Selection Committee. I also understand that Dr. Rowe was the recipient of the Christian Peterson Memorial Scholarship, the Salisbury Scholarship, and the Dukes Award as a student here. So he brings an added perspective to his work as our selection committee chair. Dr. Fales-Williams, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you very much. So we'll get right into the questions here. This first question is for you, Dr. Rowe. Laura and Russ Talbot asked how many scholarships were awarded this school year and how much money was given to students?
This last year we gave out 296 different scholarships and a total just under $1.3 million, and that represented roughly 20 scholarships more than what we had in the 2019-2020 cycle, and about another $180,000. And I've been with this committee now for 5 or 6 years, and I really want to thank the donors because every year that I can remember, that number has gone up, and it's because of the donors. Thank you very much.
That's outstanding. As a follow-up, does every student who applies for a scholarship get something for their time and effort?
Unfortunately, we're not there yet. This last year we had the 296 scholarships. 250 individual students did receive awards, and that's because some of our student leaders and other individuals qualify for multiple awards. And when we look at the total number of applications that we had, it was well over 300, and that's really just looking at the first 3 years of the curriculum. So we have a lot of need, and our scholarship numbers are coming up.
Right, right. So I have one more question for you. How many people are on your selection committee, and how much time goes into selecting scholars?
The selection committee is made up of 8 faculty members, and we're supported, by the Office of Academic and Student Affairs. As far as hours to assign, the Office of Academic Student Affairs is going to do a lot of the legwork as far as accumulating the scholarship data for the committee to review, and then also collating all of the student information. So by the time it gets to the committee's probably going to spend each individual member 8 to 12 hours on it.
And what time of year does this typically take place?
The awards process is started right now as far as soliciting applications from the students. It will close down here the end of January, first part of February generally, and then it goes to the committee right around the second week of February. And final decisions then from the committee are made roughly by spring break, so middle of March.
Okay. Is it easy?
It is extremely challenging. And you know, we spend a lot of our time really trying to make sure that we're matching the criteria set up for each individual award and trying to find the best student that fits that criteria. And as you're going through the piles of applications, it can get to be hard.
Yeah, so some hard choices have to be made.
Very much so.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Awesome. I'm going to now ask Erica a question. So Erica, you're in your 3rd year here at Iowa State, and you relocated here from the West Coast. How might your experience or plans for the future be different if you didn't have your scholarships?
I think it would be pretty vastly different. Pursuing any higher education with my undergrad or even being here, I've definitely heavily relied on scholarships. During my undergrad, I got a full ride athletic scholarship, so I didn't really have to worry about any of the costs. And when I came to veterinary school, learning about financial aid and scholarships and things like that was a whole new world for me. So it's definitely a huge relief off of my shoulders, you know, getting these scholarships to, you know, continue moving forward to reach my goal to become a veterinarian. And so while, you know, I still will have loans that I, you know, need to pay off, it's definitely going to be a lot less than if I didn't receive these scholarships. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity and that I earned these scholarships. So
we're thankful that you're here. So, thank you very much. Erin. Erin, you are also in your third year, so you're almost halfway or beyond halfway there, so that's fantastic. You and I both balance responsibilities at home in addition to everything that we do here. Do your awards impact the others in your life?
Yes, I'm married, and so my husband and I, we have 2 young kids, and up until recently, he had actually been working 2 jobs to help relieve some of that financial burden and reduce the loans that we were taking out, just so we could help, you know, with that. And this year I was able to receive several very big awards, and they've made a real big impact. So he actually was able to quit the second job, and so that's enabled him to be home and present with us and the kids a little bit more often, and it really relieves a lot of my stress for not being able to help contribute financially to the household, which with 2 young kids is quite demanding. And so that allows me to be able to focus my time as a student here and then focus at home and be present at home as a mom and not constantly worried about the financial burdens that are building up with me not being in the working force.
Sure. Great, thank you. Scholarships are generally awarded with no strings attached. So do you feel you and your fellow scholarship students have any responsibility or obligation to your donors or to the college?
I do feel we have a responsibility to uphold some academic excellence. So in receiving those awards, it does encourage me to strive to continue to perform really well academically. And then I'm so very grateful for their contributions. The generosity, it's breathtaking. It really is. There aren't enough words to say thank you for helping someone you don't know anything about and don't have to do. It's a privilege to receive these awards, and I'm just very grateful to have been able to receive several.
Thank you. And I just have to say, these are 2 fantastic students here who have already given so much to the college, and so we're very lucky to have them here. It's a great honor for our college for you to be here. So this is a question for everybody on the panel. How large does a scholarship need to be meaningful?
Personally, every little bit matters. So whether it's just a couple $100s or more substantial than that, it doesn't change the fact that it still adds up and it reduces that burden. And again, it is more than just the financial aspect and the dollars. It is that confidence building, I belong and I am wanted here. And so that does make a difference.
Great. Another question, regardless of scholarships, what would you say to a prospective student who's thinking about applying to the DVM program at Iowa State?
So I came to Iowa State without ever coming to Iowa before, so I didn't really know a lot about the school and a lot about the area, but coming here and, you know, meeting the professors and the community that supports us, it has been amazing. We both have been here for 3 years now, and it's such an amazing community, and I've got to, you know so many of my peers and soon to be colleagues in a couple of years. And, you know, I think Iowa State, I am from out of state, so it was one of the cheaper options for out of state students. And again, these scholarships definitely helped a ton with those, you know, offsetting those expenses. But I definitely think that it's an amazing place to learn. It's an amazing place to grow. And I'm so thankful that I chose to come to Iowa State even though, you know, I had no experience, or I didn't really know a lot about the area, but I'm so glad that I did, because it has made such a positive impact in my life and my education as well.
All right, thank you very much. This question is for Dr. Rowe. Reflecting on your experience in the selection process, someone in our audience has asked if there are any gaps in terms of the scholarships that we offer. Are there other special areas or years in school that need more support?
Right now, it would probably be our graduating fourth year students. The number of awards there it's the lowest out of all of them, and that's including our recruitment scholarships or our incoming VM1, VM2, VM3, and then 3 to 4 transition. So that would be, if I were to pick one, that would be probably where we need our most focus right now. But certainly, if we look across the board, first and second year, so that would be incoming or recruiting, and then first to second year transition scholarships are probably lagging behind the other 2 sets as well. So if I were to prioritize it, it'd be VM4, and then incoming VM1, and then VM1 to VM2 years. But across the board, the need is great.
Great. Thank you very much. Erica, if you were setting up the Moscoso Scholarship in Veterinary Medicine tomorrow, what would your criteria be?
So I think that it would be an award that, or a student, I guess, who would be awarded this scholarship would have similar values to myself. I would love it for it to go to a student from an underrepresented background, someone who, you know, is devoted also to efforts in improving diversity, equity, and inclusion within our profession, within our college, and I think also, you know, someone who is also devoted to building leadership as well.
Fantastic, thank you. And Erin, what would you like our donors to know in terms of how valuable and important their generosity is to today's students?
I think I would just say that it's priceless, and it is a privilege that someone is willing to donate anything to us. I believe higher education is really important. I'm here, obviously. But I also think it's a privilege, and it's not something you're just entitled to. So the fact that somebody is willing to help me succeed by helping reduce the loans that I incur and encourage me by providing that, it's just, all I can say is I'm beyond grateful, and I'm really appreciative of it. So it's very humbling, and I'm just truly honored to be able to be recognized in any way. So thank you.
Fantastic. I appreciate all of your statements. Those are really, really helpful. I appreciate the scholarships that have been brought here. They bring us fantastic students. They make their lives easier, and they help memorialize the great people who have walked in this building before them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Fales-Williams. And a big shout out and a big thank you to Erica and Erin. Erica and Erin, we are so proud. We are so proud to have you as students here in our College of Veterinary Medicine and as future colleagues within our profession. In fact, I would just like everybody here to give them a round of applause, if you don't mind. So. Likewise, Dr. Fales-Williams and Dr. Rowe, you lead by example in taking on your additional responsibilities and service for us beyond your vital work in the classroom and the laboratory. So again, thank you both for what you do for our college. And let's give them a round of applause as well. So. Very good. I hope that everyone learned something from the panel. I certainly know I did. I always learn when Eric and Dr. Fales-Williams and our students speak. So again, thank you very much. To close, I know that a virtual event is not nearly as effective as being in the same room at our college or at the Iowa State University Alumni Center. But in the world that we live today, this was our attempt to say thank you across the spectrum of donors, team members, and scholars for the differences that you make in our community. Donors provide the resources that attract and sustain the very best and the brightest, such as Erin and Erica. And hopefully, as our students take what they learn with us into the real world, they will remember the incredible opportunities that they've earned and been afforded. I hope that every single scholar goes on to succeed in the ways that are beyond anything that they've imagined for themselves. That's the best way to ultimately to thank our donors for their generosity. To close, if any of our scholarship supporters are interested in learning more about our awards or connecting with our scholars, I know that Stephen Hatting, Deb Collarwood, and Trent Wellman would welcome your inquiries. In fact, I'd like to have Trent and Deb and Stephen come up here with me, please. Come on up, guys, because I want to make sure that everybody sees this incredible team that we have here that helps us in making sure that we raise the money necessary to support students. So Deb, Trent, and Stephen, thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause as well. And if you don't mind, you guys cannot leave. We're not done yet. Stephen, Deb, stay right up here. Come on.
You are the boss.
I am the boss, so I get to do what I want. I can ad-lib when I want. So can we have everybody else come up here and join us too? So come on. Yes, Katie, your team, come on. Bev, come on up here. Until next year, come on up here, Eric. Until next year or the next time our paths cross, be safe, be well, and thank you for the lives that you change and the futures you create at Iowa State University College of Veterinary Medicine. Good night to everybody and have a wonderful evening. Good night. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much to all of our wonderful, generous scholarship donors.
I just wanted to say thank you for investing your money and time into me. I really appreciate all of the help that you've provided.
I just would like to thank all the donors for what you've done. Gracias, gracias, gracias.
Thank you to all the scholarship donors who have made such an influence on my life. I thank you and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.